day one and all, welcome to a quick start guide for the student submission portal. Now what we're going to do is do a quick overview of what this submission portal is and a short tutorial on how it works. Okay, so the student submission portal is really an annex website to the official UTech website. Its main purpose is to provide a central location for students to submit digital files, also for archiving files, student files for CSA, and more importantly, provide an ease of access interface to review the collection of these digital files. Now, the main functions of this submission portal also include other aspects as well, such as it also receives module information and outlines. It receives module reports. It also gives student access to class recordings, right? Whether it's from Zoom or Blackboard Learn, we can all put them together on this annex website, and the students can access them for the various courses. And it's also a launch pad to access other distance learning tools, especially that we have been using a plethora of distance learning tools, and to get access to these tools rather than sending individual emails to students, we can put links to these various platforms on this website so the students can access these. I'll demonstrate that as we go through the presentation. And also it also gives us a nice digital notice board for student information. Now there are two ways you can access the student submission portal. One is via the UTech website, which I'll demonstrate shortly, and the other one is directly via the URL, which is www.csa-utechjamaica.org. Both of them would lead to the same location. When you browse to the UTech website, this is what it would look like, and you need to now navigate to the CSA page, which is found under the Faculty of the Built Environment page. So you go to Academics, scroll down, and you'll go to Faculty of the Built Environment. Once there, you're going to go to Caribbean School of Architecture on that right menu, and then in that subcategory you will see the CSA Work Submission Portal. Now once you hit that, you can access the portal by either clicking the image or the link here. So I'm going to click that, then it will load the page. Now once you're on this page, immediately you'll notice that there are two main categories. There is one for staff and students, and there are some quick shortcut buttons that's located to the top. Now to use this website, you do have to be logged in, so you'll notice there's a login link at the top. If you are staff, you will be required to log in. Now this login will determine how you are given access to the website. Now students do not have to log in to access the student submission page. However, they have to log in to access the class recordings. Staff, on the other hand, must log in before proceeding to the next page, as you can see here. Now, if you are a student and you wish to submit your work, you will need to proceed to the student section. Once you're at the student section, you will enter the student home, which is basically a location for you to navigate to your particular subject areas. Now on the student's home, there is a notice board that's here, which may get updated from time to time, and the main idea for this notice board is to give you important information about submitting, or about special submissions as was indicated here for a particular exhibition. So for example, one of the main areas students will be submitting is for Design Studio. So if I click that tab here, then you're now under the Design Studio section under student submissions, and you will notice that there are, for undergrad, there are various submission buttons located here, and for third and fourth year there are also additional buttons for the study tour submission. Also for the master's course, you can see there are also submission buttons there as well. Now once you click the submission button, for example, if I should click on AS4 submission button, it will take you to a form, and you basically will fill out this form and submit it so that the lecturers can have access to your digital content. Now you will also notice that there are other tabs at the top. Let's navigate back home. You will notice that there's also a computing tab and a critical theories tab, and then you notice that there are these tabs that are grayed out. The reason they are grayed out is because they do not have a link to submit for students to submit forms directly for those subject areas, right? That may or may not come in the future, but let's look at another examples. For example, if you go to critical theories, which is a master's course, you will see a submission here, in this case for the student film. Now this section will be customized depending on the course and your lecturers. So for example, if you go to the computing section, you will notice here that there are a listing of all the computing courses, and this would link to the various submissions for each course. Now in addition to the ability to submit work, the student submissions page also provides a launchpad to access your distance learning platform. So for example, for building information modeling, it will take me to a website, and this is the interface by which we work during the course, as you can see here, during the module. Now if I go back home, if I now click on Advanced Computing 2, notice that that takes me to Blackboard Learn, because for that module we use Blackboard Learn as the platform. So this is what I mean by this being a launch pad. And what you'll find is that for various modules, various tools are used. For example, some persons might use Google Classroom and maybe Basecamp. So, you know, from the point of view of the students, there are many tools that are now used. So the idea is we will put links under these various subject areas, and the students can click the link and it will open the platform that is being used for that module. Now additionally, as a student, let me navigate back home. You can also access the class recordings. I can click that there, and you will see the class recordings here. For right now it's primarily the CSA computing courses that are here, and you can access these recordings by clicking the particular subject area. So for example, if you click digital design media, notice you have to log in, as I mentioned earlier. So in this case, I will log in here, and you can use your Google login. Doesn't matter. If you don't have a login, you can just create one real quick. In this case, I'll use my Google login, and once I'm logged in now, it will give me access to the Zoom recordings, and you will see where all of these recordings are now here, which you can review. So that's how you access the class recordings. Okay, if you are a staff member, once you try to access the staff section, you will be prompted to log in. Now, if you don't have a login, you can just create one. So for example, I could log in with my Google account, and let me just choose a Google account at random here. Now, if I log in with a Google account that does not give me access to this page, then you will get this message that say you don't have permission. Now what this is when you log in with a Google account, the website administrator will get a notification saying that somebody is trying to access the account, and they have to authorize that user. Now this only has to be done once, so once it is done, you can always access the site unless your access is revoked for any reason. Now you can sign up with any email, whether it is Google or UTech, it doesn't matter. All you need is to have an account. So in this case, this particular login does not have access to the site, so I would need to call to get immediate access. I would call the administrator for the web page, or just call the CSA office and ask for that person, and they will give you access to the site. So I'm gonna go back to switch account, and this time when I go to login, I'm going to log in with an account that has access to the website. Now once you do that, you click on staff, and now you have access to the staff page. Now you will notice some additional menus at the top, and more importantly, you will notice that there's a module summary representation here, and what this is a representation of the diet. It's interactive, so for example, if you want to view the submissions for a particular module, let's say for example MArch 1, which is Masters Year 1, I would click that, and then it would take me to the module page. Now once on the module page, it will show you your module course, your module code, as well as your module name. You will see a table here that has various types of information. For example, grading report, faculty module assessment report, assessment handouts, and so forth. And you can see it's color coordinated here. So basically the submissions that are made, you can click this link. So for example, if I wanted to view the grading report for academic year 1920 semester 2 for Design Studio 1M, I could just click this link here, and it will open that document for me right in my browser. That is here, right? And the same thing for all these other submissions. Now if I scroll down a bit more, you'll notice that you will see the submissions of your students. Now earlier in the tutorial, we demonstrated how students will submit their work. Once the work is submitted, it will be available here, in this case for the MArch 1 portfolio submission. Now in this particular case, you will see the academic year, the last name, first name, and you will see the various submission categories here at the top. And for each one, there is a link that will take you there. So for example, if I wanted to see the semester 1 applied research responses here for a particular student, I will just click that link, and it will open that document directly in the in your browser. That's here. Okay, now don't forget, there might be information that's to the right, so you can scroll across, or is here, so you can scroll across to see additional information. So for example, information such as their email address, their cell number, and your UTech ID number, the timestamp, all that information is located to the right, but the primary information you need is the actual work that is submitted. Okay, now another thing you might notice is when looking at the student submission records, you might notice cases where there are multiple submissions. In the case of, for example, Rupert Hall, where there are multiple submissions, Usually this might be a scenario where the first submission was done in error and maybe there was a next submission. What you will notice in the timestamp column that they are ordered in terms of the latest always being at the bottom of the duplication, right? So you will always use the last version for each column, right? So in this case of Rupert Hall, this would be his latest submissions here for the applied research response and the sustainable design final project. However, his latest update for the semester 1 sketchbook would be here. As you can see that there is no submission here. So that's just something to keep in mind when dealing with duplications. Now as you scroll down, in some scenarios there might be additional submissions. So for example, here we can see where the urban study was submitted, and here we see another type of submission. Now as you scroll to the lower half, you will notice that there are work samples below that's divided for highest, medium, and lowest averages. Now I'm going to explain that shortly. So to do that, I'm going to hop into another module. Now you can go back to the module summary page here, and this kind of gives you a visual kind of roadmap of what levels the modules are at and what subject areas they are located under, right? So for example, computing, you can see where that's all one color, and you can see where it's not offered in level 1 or level 5 and 6. So this is a good kind of a roadmap to navigate yourself. Now in the cases where you are already familiar with this roadmap, there's a quick menu that's here that has all the modules, so you can just quickly jump to a particular module. So in this case, I'm going to jump to digital design media, and that will take me to the module page. Now notice that it's a very similar setup as this was explained before, but as I scroll down, notice that unlike Design Studio, there is no direct student submissions on this page. Instead, this page just highlights the highest, medium, and lowest average samples of work based on the assessments that were given. So for example, this module was offered in semester 1, academic year 2021. Notice that there are 4 assessments where you can see here assessment 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see where there's a submission. Here is that link there for each assessment. So for example, assessment 1 has a submission here. This is the grade, and this is the link to the work. Now for some modules there might be up to 6 assessments, and others maybe just 2 assessments. You will know how much assessments is there by seeing the columns that the links are under. So for example, if I wanted to look on the highest average for maybe my assessment 3, so notice that it has an A for the highest average, and I'm going to click this link here, and this link will actually take me directly to that work sample that I can preview here. Now of course, if I wanted to know what was the assessment handout like, I would find that here where it says assessment handouts, and I can just bring that up by clicking on that link, and it will show me what the assessment handout was for a particular assessment. Now, in other cases, lecturers might need to submit their assessments or their module outlines, and in order to do that, you will find it under Submit Module Report. And if they wanted to submit work samples, they would go to Submit High, Low, High, Medium, Low. That's here. So for example, these will take you to a form. So if I click this, it will take me to a form where I choose the academic year, and what am I submitting? Is it a grading report? Is it a faculty module assessment report? So if I wanted to submit a syllabus outline, I click that. Then I choose the subject area. So maybe it's computing. And then I choose the actual module. So in my case, it may be CMP 2021. Now, once these are selected, I also need to insert my email. That's here. Once these are selected, then I go next, and then I upload the file for submission there. When that is submitted, if I go to that particular module, where here it is, it will then appear under the syllabus outline section that is here, right? And in some cases you might have to give it a minute or two for it to appear, but in most cases it appears immediately. Now also another thing you might notice, if you wanted to submit all 4 of these, you have to make 4 independent submissions. At this time you can't attach 4 items and click submit one time. You have to now go back into that form and choose that you're submitting assessment handouts. When you submit that, you go back in and choose to submit faculty module assessment report, and so on and so on. That's just how it works currently. If you are submitting a high, medium, low sample, you would go here and you would choose the academic year, select the module that you're submitting the high, medium, low sample for, then go next. Choose your, input your email and go next, and then you would submit. You would choose the grade level. So for example, if this is the highest, maybe the highest you had was a B, so you click B and you upload the sample, and this is for assessment 1. Now for assessment 2, you're going to do the same and repeat that process. You have up to 6 slots to submit the assessments for. Now the other links here, for example, student submission, this is just a quick link to take you over to the student page, and the site admin, these are features that the administrator of this student work submission portal website would access. Okay, now the final aspect that I want to touch on is this new feature that we are introducing, which is the CSA archives. And the idea here is that this will give select persons the ability to browse all this work that has been submitted to this database, in addition to other student work. So right now it's under construction. If you look under the CSA archive section, right now we are currently archiving the CSA study tour locations. So you will see a world map here, and you can see as it begins to populate all of the locations that we have visited for study tour and urban studies over the years. The areas that are marked in green are the areas that are visited the most, or rather green and large, right? You can actually hover over certain areas to get a more in-depth look. And what you see here are some metrics that are generated based on the study tour archive database. So for example, we can have an idea of the countries that are visited the most for urban study and study tours. And also we can also filter for information. This section, as I say, is still under construction. So for example, if you wanted to locate a particular urban study via a particular group in a particular year, city, Maybe you want the digital, and maybe, for a particular country, you can filter these categories and the results will appear here. And if it is a digital version, the link will be available here for you to view, right? Currently it's still under construction, so it might not be there. Additionally, there will be further sections that will allow the archivist to access the plethora of digital submissions that have been made via the student submission portals. So that is the archive section. The Back to UTech page, when you click it, it will actually take you back to the UTech main site. Okay, and that is a quick overview of the student submission portal here at the Caribbean School of Architecture. I hope this tutorial has been useful to the users of this platform. If you have any suggestions for this portal, please feel free to contact the administrative staff or anybody in the CSA office and feed your ideas there, as this is a work in progress.